Hi there, my name is Rachel Gibbs, and I am one of the LEGO Robotics coaches at Heritage Elementary School. In this video, I'm going to give you some information that you are going to want to have before beginning the application process for LEGO Robotics. So please make sure that you have listened very carefully and also go back into this slideshow, which is linked on the document that you used to access this video. You can go back into the slideshow and click into the links, click into the videos to get more information to make sure you have a really good understanding of what LEGO Robotics consists of here at Heritage before making the decision to allow your child to apply for the program. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the components of FLL. At Heritage, we compete in the first LEGO League program, FLL for short, and that consists of 3 different competition sections. So there is the core value section, there's a robot section, and there is a project section. The name LEGO Robotics can be just a little bit misleading because while we do use Lego pieces to build parts of our mission table and also to create our robot that the students then do learn to program and complete missions with, robot is only one portion of the entire FLL program. So the students do build a robot and learn how to program it and strategize on how they're going to complete different missions on the robot table. However, that is just one of 3 large sections that make up the entire first LEGO League program. There's also a core values section, and the core values component of the competition consists of team building challenges that the students compete in together, where they work together as a team to solve a problem in an instant challenge setting. There's also the project component of First LEGO League, which in my opinion comprises probably one of, if not the most amount of time of the 3 different components. There's a good deal of time spent on robot as well. However, a lot of the amount of time that you spend working with LEGO Robotics is spent on the project, which is going to be a large scale project that students will work together on in order to solve a problem. It's problem-based learning. So each year, First LEGO League releases a different challenge. I'll talk a little more about this year's challenge in a moment, but each year, First LEGO League releases a different challenge theme, and students are presented with a different problem that they need to solve within their community. And then from that, we identify a specific problem relating to us that we want to focus on. It includes a lot of research, a lot of brainstorming, working together as a team in order to determine what solution we are going to pursue in order to attempt to solve that problem. So it's a very meaningful, powerful, awesome thing. It's also something that requires a pretty big commitment and amount of time in order to be done well, and we like to do it really well. So just want to make sure that when you're going into the application that you understand for sure exactly what you're getting into, and that there's going to be a lot included in LEGO Robotics outside of Legos and robots. Like I mentioned earlier, you can go to the link in the document that you used to get into this video. There's also a link for the slideshow that has the live videos and hot links in it. So you can go back and watch videos like this to get a little bit of a better understanding. Just some pictures of our teams from last year. We had the Civil Cats and the Ram Robotics team. We are going to have 2 teams again this year. This year, our challenge is called the Replay Challenge. This is a great video that you can come back and watch to get a better understanding of what all the Replay Challenge consists of, but it sounds like a pretty exciting one that has to do with motivating our community to stay active and healthy. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the time requirements with Lego Robotics. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a very big commitment. It's a large scale program with a lot of things going on. It is a wonderful program that is going to instill some very important and powerful executive and team building skills with your students or with your children. However, it does take up a good bit of time. So it's really good to kind of think about and evaluate what all you have going on during the week, what other commitments you know your child already has, and really determine, is this going to be a good choice for your child, and is it going to be something that your child is going to enjoy and be able to handle well. So I've got the time requirements broken up into 3 different areas. Our school practices, those are going to occur 1 to 2 days per week. They usually occur after school hours for around 2 hours. And those practices are going to focus very heavily on core values and on the project component. So very little building with Legos or robot programming will be happening during those practices. Our weekend practices happen almost every weekend for about 2 hours. And those practices are when the students will work with our robot coach on the building, strategizing, and programming of the robot. The format of those practices, there could be some practices with more team members together in the beginning, but usually that starts to move towards a fewer number of students once we have our teams determined for who will be running the robot together on the table. Then it will just be 1 or 2 students working together. The format for this practice can be different for each team. I know for sure my team, which does already have a robot coach in place, those practices will occur at the robot coach's home. So just a good thing for you to know that you would be your child would be going to our robot coach's home with social distancing measures in place to complete those practices. School practice location, those will likely be at school. There may be every now and then a situation when we can do those virtually, but those will most likely be your child coming up to the school building to participate in those practices. Finally, your child will also need to be able to commit a good amount of time to independent work that will be done at home. So our team members will need to spend time doing research and other independent work assignments as we are moving through the project. That can take up another approximate 2 hours per week. As I kind of mentioned earlier, most, if not all, of these practices are going to be held in a face-to-face setting. We will have social distancing procedures in place, but after doing some discussing and brainstorming with our previous coaches, it's just not going to be possible to do a really great job with everything that we need to do with Lego Robotics in an all-virtual setting. They have released from First in Alabama that our Alabama competitions this year are going to be virtual. I don't have a lot of information on exactly what that's going to look like. Hopefully we'll get more of that soon. But I do know that our actual competitions will be held in a virtual format. So speaking of competitions, our team is going to compete in a regional qualifier in November or December. And then if the team qualifies, they will compete in the state competition, which will happen sometime in the second semester. And depending upon those results, we could be invited to move to a different international level competition. Those could be held in another state. Team members are required to attend all of the competitions. Okay, one very important component of Lego Robotics is our parent volunteers. That's one of the ways that we have been able to make our Heritage Lego Robotics program such a successful one in the past few years, is because of the level of parent volunteers that we have helping us out. Because it is such a tight and high demand schedule, we do need all of our team member parents to help in some way. And you'll be able to indicate that when you help your child move through the application, the online application, if you do decide to move forward with the application process. Some different ways that parents can help out are by assisting with project or with robot practices or coaching if you feel comfortable doing that. You can work with team members on creating skip props, scrapbooks, or trifold boards, or other things that we may need for competition. We may also need parents to make purchasing trips for needed supplies, to provide snacks, or to help with organizing fundraising or corporate sponsorships, as well as organizing other orders like our team t-shirt order. We do have one major need for sure for this upcoming season. Like I mentioned earlier, we will have 2 teams this year. One of our teams does already have a robot coach in place. But we are going to need another robot coach for our second team. So if that is a skill set that you have, if you have experience working with robots and with programming, and you would be interested in serving as our second robot coach this year, that would be very helpful to us. Our robot coach that we do already have in place is a great coach who has had lots of experience with this program in more than one setting, and he is very happy to mentor and offer assistance to someone who comes on as a new robot coach. So if you're thinking that you might like to do it, but you're worried you're not going to know enough about it, just know that you would also have a wonderful mentor to help guide you along the way. All right, so our fees for Lego Robotics, there is a team member fee of $50. That is due once you have been notified of acceptance to the team. So you do not need to turn in any kind of fee when you submit your online application. Those are used to purchase the team t-shirt and for competition registration. Depending upon the extent of our project needs, sometimes we may ask for parents to chip in on other small costs, but that does not usually happen. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how the application process is going to work this year, because it's a little different than usual. Our online applications are due to me no later than Wednesday, August 26th. The application process includes a brief essay and teacher recommendations. All of it is going to be done online this year. You'll be able to access the essay questions through a link on the same document that you use to access this video. But I'm also going to talk through them in a moment. But you'll be able to access those so that your child can view them ahead of time. It is important that you make sure you have everything prepared to submit before you begin the Google form to submit your application, because it's not going to save your progress as you go through. So if you get a good portion of it finished and then you get to a point where you need to submit an answer and your child doesn't have that answer ready for the essay question, you're not going to be able to come back in later and finish that. So you need to make sure that they have everything prepared, that they've already typed all their answers up and they have them ready to either submit the whole document or to copy and paste those answers over. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like in a moment. Just the last thought, again, we've talked about it several times, but just please make sure that you're considering time restraints and the high expectations of Lego Robotics before you do allow your child to apply. You know what they're capable of, you know what they already have going on so well that you're going to be able to make the best decision for this for your child. Also, if you feel like your child's interest in Lego Robotics may be more of a casual one, maybe they're interested in the idea of working with a robot and they just kind of enjoy building with Legos, but it's not something that you're sure they're going to be able to commit to. This might not be the very best opportunity for your child's interest. You may want to consider some of the other clubs and organizations that we offer at Heritage. Again, the Heritage Lego Robotics program is wonderful. Students are going to gain so many wonderful and desirable skills through the program. That being said, it requires a lot of patience, a lot of commitment, and the students who tend to do well and get the most out of this program are students who are looking for extra academic type work and projects to work on outside of their regular schoolwork. Students who can finish up what they have assigned to them in their regular classrooms during the week, and then are hungry for more and like to dive deep into projects. Those types of students are going to be very successful with the Lego Robotics program. Also keep in mind that it is a very popular program and we don't have a lot of open available seats on teams, just because the size that a team can be is not very large. We don't generally have much more than 8 members on a team. So we can't allow too many of our applicants to be placed on teams. So do make sure that you really consider whether this is going to be the right thing for your child, also so that we're leaving those seats available for our students who are really, really eager to dive deep and commit to something of this level of time requirement and commitment. Okay, so when you go back through the slideshow, and if your child has everything ready to submit, you know you want to apply, you can click here to access the application. It's also linked on the document that you use to access this information video. I wanted to click on it so that you could see what that's going to look like. So here is our online application for this year. I'll walk you through it really quickly just so you'll have an idea of what you're going to be going into when you decide to go on and help your child complete that application. We have the place for your child to put their first and last name. And then it's going to ask how you'll be submitting your essay answers. So as I said before, you're going to want your child to have completely done their answers already and have those ready to access. Please make sure that they do those themselves. We want to hear from students. We know that parents want to make sure that their children are doing the very best that they can, but we definitely want to hear your child's voice when it comes to those essay answers. So make sure that they've already have those typed up and ready. And then you can decide what's going to be the easier way to submit. You can either copy and paste those all into the form, or you can upload them as a file. Either way is fine. I'm just going to choose copy and paste so that I can show you what those essay questions are. But again, you'll be able to access them on the document where this video was linked. Okay, so the essay questions are just going to ask the student to tell a little about themselves, to explain why they want to be on the LEGO Robotics team. It's going to ask them to describe any previous experience that they have that might make them qualified to be on the team. And that can be anything from a large-scale project that they've done in school or in another program in the past. It could be theater experience. It could be that they have done some programming or coding, or just that they've had experience working with a team. And no experience is required, but I think if our students just think a little creatively, they're going to be able to come up with some of those types of experience that they've had. Give an example of a problem that you've had to deal with and what steps you used to solve it, and then also include any experience that you may have had with performing plays and skits. We ask about that just because that is the way that we present our final project solution at competition, is in the form of a play. That again is not something that is required, just something to give us a little more background on your child. The next section of the application is our parent checklist. It is very important that a parent complete this, as this is going to confirm that our parents do understand the commitment of LEGO Robotics and that they do understand the format in which practices are going to be taking place this year. So I do ask that a parent be sure to include your name, and then go through and just mark that you do understand and are comfortable with all of the statements here in the parent checklist. And then down at the bottom, you can also go through and check mark all of the areas that you would be willing to help as a parent volunteer and add any additional information. The final section of the application is for our teacher recommendations. We ask that you help your child decide on 2 teachers that they would like to request to have a recommendation from, and you'll just enter those 2 teachers' names. You do not need to contact those teachers. We will send a teacher recommendation form to them. We just need their names, and it needs to be a teacher from a grade 2, 3, or 4. Also, if you are new to Heritage, you can have a teacher recommendation that is outside of our school. I just ask that if you list someone who is not a Heritage teacher, that you make sure to give me a little information in that last box that asks for some information to assist in contacting that teacher to get a recommendation from them. That is the last part of our application. You'll click the submit button, and then that will be submitted to me. Again, our applications are going to be due by Wednesday, August 26th. And our hope is to be able to move through those and then have our team members set and announced in the beginning of September. We want to be able to get that figured out as soon as possible because, like I mentioned before, our challenge for this year has already been released. So we do want to be able to get started as soon as we can. Please, if you have any questions about the application process or about the Lego Robotics program at Heritage, please do not hesitate to contact me via email. My email is regibbs at all of the Madison City stuff, or you can click on the link that is included in the document with along with the video, the slideshow, and the application. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing the applications rolling in.